And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Any chance I have, any opportunity I have to talk baseball with anybody, really, who's knowledgeable about baseball, I take full advantage of that. And of course, nobody knows more about the Wenatchee AppleSox than the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee AppleSox, Joel Norman, who knows so much about it. He wrote a book. It's called One Inning at a Time, which is the way I live my life. Anyway, hopefully I'll make it to extra innings. Joel Norman, the voice of the AppleSox, making his very first appearance ever on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Hi, published author.
Hello, Dan. I have to say, though, I think Bruce Bennett probably knows a little more about the AppleSox than I do, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah, Bruce was the longtime statistician and historian of Wenatchee AppleSox Baseball. He and Rexine are two of my favorite people.
Yes.
So first thing people want to do, especially AppleSox fans, is how do I get a copy, Joel?
Absolutely. The book is on sale tonight. We have been kind of hyping it up the last few days. We got them in person on Friday, and they will be on sale, limited copies here tonight. We kind of went to buy a small amount at first to see if we liked how the formatting was, just normal precautions there, but we're going to purchase more. There'll be plenty more on sale for the rest of the season, but if you want to come out to the park tonight, get over to the third base souvenir stand and purchase yours.
So is this your first ever book?
First ever.
Tell me about the genesis of it. And did it write itself, or how did this whole thing work?
No, it definitely didn't write itself. There was a lot of work to do this, but I enjoyed every step of the process. It's funny, I mentioned at the end of the book, but about a year ago, Jose randomly, I was eating dinner with him and his family one night, and then he just randomly looks at me and he goes, "You know, Joel, let's write a book about the AppleSox." And here, Jose, if you ever talk to him, he has lots of ideas. And that's one of the great things about him, is that he is always thinking ahead. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And again, this was a year ago. So I'm thinking, there's no way we'll be able to do that. He goes, yeah, next year's the 20th year. This will be perfect. And I said, okay. Then August rolls around, season ends, and he goes, so Joel, let's get started on that book. So it was part of one of my things to do this off season, and it was funny. But it took a little work, but like I said, I really enjoyed writing this. It was fun. I'd never really written a book before, so I didn't have a lot of idea how to do it, but I had a blast, and I learned a ton along the way.
So you talked to a lot of people, including, I'm sure, Jim Corcoran and Kenny Osborne and Jose and Bruce. In fact, Bruce and Rexina right there in the
there they are.
down there. There they are.
Only fitting.
And of course, Bruce and everything. So did you have an outline and say, this is how I want? Did it start out as one book and became another in the gestation period? How did that happen?
You know, before I interviewed anyone, I kind of created an outline of what I wanted to do. And then I interviewed a couple people, and I threw that outline away. So what I thought I wanted to do was completely tossed aside. And I kind of turned this into more of a storybook. Because in a lot of ways, the way you remember summer college baseball may not come in the statistics, because it's only 2.5 months. Yeah. But what you remember are the stories you make being a fan there, being a player, the celebrations, the walk-off hits, that one funky giveaway or goofy on-field promotion. Those are the things you remember from summer ball. So I wanted to kind of include those things in this book and make it more of a storybook.
And as he mentioned before, it's the 20th anniversary of the Wenatchee AppleSox. So this team has a history. Absolutely. And a lot of teams in the West Coast League really don't have a history. Some of the teams are newer. Walla Walla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. Not really long enough to have a history. So Wenatchee is pretty much like, I think maybe Wenatchee and Bend are the two teams that have been around. I'm just spitballing
Bellingham
there.
as well.
Bellingham,
I think Kelowna's right there.
Right.
There's a couple. But, you know, a few teams have been around for 20 years, and it's neat because it's also the 15th year for the West Coast League. So in a lot of ways, it's fitting that both of these coincide at the same time. And there was so many stories I hadn't heard yet about the AppleSox. This is only my second year here, too, obviously. But it was really fun just sitting down with tons of different people, whether it was Jim Corcoran, Ed Nags, Ken Osborne, anyone. I was amazed at the other people I was asked to say, hey, maybe chat with them and see what they have to say. And it was a lot of fun material to find.
Is there any particular story that jumps out that people want to go to page 17 and read that, or anything like that jumps out at you? Or?
I have a lot of different chapters. Some are all about on-field stuff. Some are completely off the field. I'd really recommend, if you're a casual baseball fan, read the Coyote chapter, because that might answer a lot of questions on why the AppleSox chose Coyote to be the mascot. Not only that, but why he's just called Coyote. I really like that. I did a lot of different research for that one. I think I put my history minor to use just in that chapter alone, so I was proud of that. But if you want on-field stuff and you want to laugh a little bit, read the chapter about Ed Nags. There's a whole chapter just on him, and anyone who's ever met him knows he's a heck of a character. And boy, obviously his name is always etched into AppleSox.
Well, he managed the team for what, 15 years to championships and championships and championships, And in fact, it's funny because Ed and Coyote are two entirely different personalities.
Exactly.
Ed loves to talk baseball, loves to tell stories, promotes the game of baseball, breathes baseball. And Coyote's a difficult interview. Very low key.
Not chatty.
Yeah, not very chatty. So it must have been difficult to.
It was tough, you know. I had to go through the hand signals with him. You know, we did the swipe of the chest, grab the ear, and whatnot. No, but that's kind of symbolic of how the book is. Though it's all over the place, but again, it's not meant to be in order necessarily historically. There is information about how the AppleSox were founded, and that game, as I talked about Jim, and boy, I sat down at Cafe Mela for I think it was almost 3 hours one day straight, just talking to Jim. And then he sent me an email after sending me more information within a half an hour. So it was fun. There was a lot of money spent on coffee doing this book as well. So shout out to Cafe Mela for that. But no, it was funny just having that time and kind of just starting saying, hey, just start me from the beginning. Stuff I don't know, and learned a ton about this team from the beginning.
And Jim, to his credit, didn't have to do anything. He doesn't own the team anymore. No. He's fully retired. He still goes to the games. Yeah. Every game I go to this year, Jim's there. Yeah. I think he's missed one game that I've been there, and that's it. So
and just the humblest guy.
So he's just a fan.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he's enjoying that. He doesn't have to yell at as many kids and not run at all or anything. He told me at one point, he said, out of impulse, I might still do that this year, but I haven't heard it, at least from the press box. So, no, it's been fun. I haven't gotten to see Jim as much, unfortunately, this year, but it was a pleasure talking to him, forming this book, and he is still very much a big part of the image of AppleSox baseball.
And it's funny you bring that up, don't run, kids. Jim was really good at that, but the guest services folks who work for Jose and Ken, they're really good because we go to the games and hit a foul ball over there by the tennis courts or the basketball courts. The kids take off. The guest services people don't run, and they stop it.
Exactly. So. And those guest services kids, they come and go too. Some have been here multiple summers. However, they're in a lot of ways more so than any of the players or anyone other side. Jim or Ken, Jose, Allie. Besides that, those are the immediate faces of the AppleSox. A lot of kids remember them more than they're going to remember our management. So we're always really thankful for the guest services members we've had over the years too, and tried to give them a shout out there as best as possible.
Well, I had a great time. I of course PA'd AppleSox for a couple of years back in 2004 and again in 2014, and then I was a last second pinch hitter about a month ago. I enjoyed doing that.
Or celebrity fill-in.
Yeah, celebrity fill-in. So signed a lot of autographs. Speaking of that, you signed the book.
Yes.
Go Sox, Joel Norman, it says right here.
Yeah, I've signed all the copies that we're selling tonight. So, if you come out to the park, you have a signed copy.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and best of luck through the years, Babe Ruth. See, now
there you go. Now that's a winner right there.
Lot of money. Hey, we're playing good baseball.
Yes.
I'm liking this. We stubbed our toe a little bit against Walla Walla. Down in Walla Walla late last week, and then into the weekend with the Portland Pickles in town.
That's right.
We're playing good. We're feeling good. Team seems to be trending in the right direction here.
You know what I realized late last night? The AppleSox are going for their fourth sweep of the season here tonight. Last year, they didn't get their final sweep until the penultimate series of the season. So it's pretty crazy that this team is already off and running like this. And right there, the season ends today. The Sox are in the playoffs, and we haven't said that since 2013. And boy, wouldn't that be fitting? I've been saying that all year. Wouldn't it be fitting to end that drought by getting in on the 20th season?
And it takes a little while for Coach Crustangel to build up his philosophy and his team. He has done so.
Yep.
We had a couple of struggling this time. At this time last year, we had no chance at all to make the playoffs. Now we're right there, and there's just a few more games left. We have Portland again tonight. You got a day off. You have a non-league game. Then we just have two more series
at home, and then one more on the road. So
and then that's
games.
it.
Yeah.
So it's time to do it.
Absolutely, and it's time to show up too. We need Sox Nation there. AppleSox head coach Kyle Crustangel always says, "We can hear you," and it makes a difference. There was over 1,200 fans there at the park last night. Let's do something similar tonight. Why not? A chance for the sweep. Bring your brooms to the park. You don't see a team get 4 sweeps in this kind of a season too often.
And there are some teams in the league, and I'm going to be straightforward here, that by this time of the year, late July, early August, some of the teams that really have no chance at all of making the playoffs, and they know it. And you can see just in the body language of the teams and the players that they're just coasting home. They want the season over with. They want to go to goof off for a couple of weeks before they go back to school. This team is not doing that.
No. Summer ball is what you make of it. And I give a ton of credit to our players and our coaching staff for maintaining that mindset, because they have realized this is a great opportunity. And as Coach Crustangel always says, shoot, why not go out and try and win it all? You might not have, some of these guys might not ever have a chance to compete for a championship again. So these are great memories, and like we said, whenever we talk to Marco Gonzalez, he still remembers his 2010 title. Everyone remembers when you win a championship, no matter what level of ball it is, whether it's summer ball or in season. So the team is figuring, why not? Let's give it a chance. Let's just get in and then see what happens. Because we saw it last year in the postseason. Kelowna faced Bellingham. Kelowna barely got in thanks to a tiebreaker and much confusion, by the way. Yeah. But they got in nonetheless, and heck, they got to the championship round. So the AppleSox are thinking, what the heck? Let's give it a chance. If we get there, we'll see what happens when we're in that position.
There's an old saying, if you're going to play this much baseball, you might as well see if you can win the championship.
Why not?
As simple as that. You mentioned Marco. We mentioned Coyote. Here's the bobbleheads. That was a tremendously successful promotion, wasn't it?
That was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed the bobblehead nights. And, hey, if you have any ideas about next year, we're taking those.
Are the bobbleheads like Gone Johnson? Is there any floating around?
There are some left. I believe we're selling them on sale at the souvenir stand. Okay. If you actually want any, I think it's only just $5 or so, or maybe a couple more. But I'd have to double check. But regardless, there are a few left. But hey, next year we're thinking about. It's never too early to think about the next season. So
that's true.
We are open to ideas. We're probably thinking another Coyote one, but it'd be cool to do another former player too. So.
Well, I'm trying to think who'd be the obvious one. Well, first of all, there's a player this year. If he keeps this up, he's going to get a couple bobbleheads. I'm talking about Johnny Sage. That guy's a ball player.
Yes, he is.
I like the way he approaches baseball.
Yeah.
He's a fun-loving guy, but the first pitch between the diamonds, we're here to win.
Whenever he gets a walk in a ball game, I hear from his grandmother, who always watches our Facebook Live feed. She always says, we call him Johnny Walker. And then Coach Crustangel calls him Johnny AppleSox. But he's been fantastic. Second summer with the Sox. And it's funny, Dan is entering this week. He had 27 walks on the season entering this weekend, and 22 of them have come in the month of July. Okay. He, in the month of June, was really trying to work on his power. He homered opening night after not homering at all last summer. And he told me, he said, I'm trying to get more extra base hits. It didn't quite work out because in June, he only had a .240 batting average. But here in July, he's become more of that AppleSox hitter we're used to seeing, whereas last summer, he was taking his bases on balls. He was, working the count, wasn't attacking early, and it's shown. He had a tough year at Purdue this past spring, and he was telling me about that recently. He said, it was really humbling. I haven't had a bad year like that. He'd won the NWAC Player of the Year in 2018 with the Yakima Valley, but now it looks like he's on track, and it's great to see because he's going into his senior year. This is it for college ball. It's kind of make or break, see if you can make it to the majors after this. So we've been really proud of the season he's put together here with the AppleSox.
Any other players, and I know Kyle doesn't like to, and you don't either, you don't like to single out individual players for special mention or special attention, but anybody else while I have you here that has impressed you in the last few weeks since I saw you last?
Yeah, well, why not his teammate Cole McKenzie in a lot of ways? Obviously he has been out for a while, hitting .370 though. He's going to try to give it a go next weekend. We've been told, nothing official yet, but that sprained left wrist has still been bugging him. But even though he's been hurt, it's been great. He's still wanted to be around. Until he has to go, he wants to stay here, and I think the guys have really enjoyed having him around. A great person, great teammate for everyone else. It's been really nice having him around still, and we'd love to see him get at least one more game. And just because he hasn't played since he was named an All-Star, went down to Bend. He was going to try and work out in that scouting event during the day of the All-Star game. It wouldn't work. He wasn't able to catch the ball. His wrist still bugging him. So we'd love to see him out there again. But there's been a lot of fantastic guys. I think every night it feels like it's been someone new. And, last night, a guy like Dalton Harum, we were talking about him a moment ago, he steps up. And it's a guy who, right before the game, he's on a little bit of a slide. He only had one hit over his last 3 games or so. A lot of strikeouts in the process. And he said to me, Joel, I'm going to get a couple hits tonight. And I said, you know what? I believe you. You've been swinging it. You just haven't got rewarded yet. And, heck, he got rewarded.
Outside of Cole, how we doing health-wise?
Pretty good. I think everyone else is fine who's currently with the AppleSox. Ryan Altenberger just got over something, went deep last night, so he's all right. Yeah. So I think other than that, the health is great. There's a lot of arms available, and we haven't used a lot of key relievers the last 2 days, which is fantastic. So if the Sox are in a close game tonight going for the sweep, Landon Shire, according to Coach Crustangel, could get 2 or 3 innings of relief, and, hey, he's already got 6 saves this summer.
It's kind of a strange schedule because they had Portland on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which usually isn't the way things work out, but that's just the way it is. And then an off day on Tuesday, non-league game on the last day of July, Wednesday, and then another off day. And this is a good time to have an off day.
Absolutely.
So off day, non-league game doesn't count. and then another off day. And then the stretch run. So
yeah,
the scheduling gods were good to us then.
They were. And I think the nice thing about this 3-day stretch coming up after today, it's a lot of time to relax. Because Wednesday's game, yes, you'd like to win, but however, you're not going to be playing as many regulars, so you can get some time off. So you don't have to rest them in a game that means something. So these non-league games are great for a lot of reasons. We love having another night at the ballpark. We have the lease, so why not have another game? And we love doing that, and we love giving other guys opportunities who maybe haven't gotten a chance. You may see a few pitchers who you haven't seen as much. However, we want to get them some innings, so it'll be a great opportunity for them to toe in the rubber. And then some of the guys who haven't got as many starts as they would like, they might get some action in the field. Or you might see a guy who plays a lot at one position playing somewhere new. So we're always trying to learn on the fly here in summer college baseball.
I was out of touch, as you know, last week in an area where cell service was spotty. I don't really, and I follow baseball every day, but I know how my Yankees did. They beat the Red Sox last night.
That's right.
Just to avoid being swept. How are your Pirates doing? I don't know. Where are we in the National League Central?
A bit of a slide. I kind of hope that as a result they might sell at the deadline, but they've been kind of middling for a couple of years. I kind of want them to just pick a side, whether you're going to sell or you're going to go all in. But
nothing's going on, and the deadline is midnight on Wednesday.
There were a few trades yesterday, though. Stroman to the Mets. Yeah. That was interesting because they're fourth in that division.
Yeah, so, I couldn't figure that. I don't know if Toronto was giving up or the Mets were trying to make a run or neither team knows what they're doing. That's about the only thing I can think of. So.
That was weird. I mean, it makes sense for Toronto, but the Mets, unless it's a long-term move, I guess then maybe for next year. But this year, I didn't like that.
Speaking of that, I know it's never too early to build the roster for the 2020 campaign. Any of the guys that you know of on the AppleSox say, boy, if I have a chance to come back in 2020 and play, and I still have my eligibility, I want to come back and play here.
I asked Coach Cross Angel about that a couple of weeks ago, and probably won't have a definitive idea, but he tossed out a lot of names, which was really exciting. When he gave me about 10 different names, and I'll leave that until they've officially at least said they're going to be back. But it was kind of neat seeing that and knowing that guys, one, like playing for him, and two, have enjoyed their summer in Wenatchee. We've had, over the 20 years of the team, there's every guys who come in and they're pumped to play at this level, and there's guys who come in and they kind of go, all right, whatever. We've had a really positive group this summer, and it's not normal to be saying that about the majority of a team.
Yeah.
I look at most of the guys, I talk to most of the guys, they look like they enjoy their time, and I sincerely mean that. And that is just, for me, that's what I want. I want the guys to come in, I want them to improve, but I want them to enjoy playing in Wenatchee. I want them to make the most of their summer, even if it isn't what they had planned or wanted to happen at all.
Mm-hmm. What's it like we're almost out of time, Joe. What's it like to open up page for the book, it says copyright 2019, Joel Norman. What's that like?
It's crazy. When I first saw the books in person, I kind of had a moment where I was like, wow. I don't know if I'm ever going to write another book. I'm really excited about this. I just hope people enjoy it because, as I've said, obviously the primary audience here is Wenatchee people, but I think whether you're from Wenatchee or not, you'll enjoy this because a lot of people in this country maybe don't know the details of summer college baseball if they're not in a small town. So I hope that maybe if you're an AppleSox fan or not, you'll read this and you'll learn a little bit about summer ball and see why it's beloved and growing across the country.
Full of information, lots of very important, all the team records that you need there, the standings from every year. It's a great book. Joel, have fun tonight.
Thank you.
You can get the book tonight at tonight's AppleSox game against the Portland Pickles. Everybody have yourself a great Monday, provided the show isn't canceled. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.